In early 2013, I was lying on my bed listening to music on my iPod. Out of nowhere, I got a glimpse of the world, but specifically the United States, through the eyes of Yahoo. What I saw was devastating. The more I saw, the more I cried, and I must have cried for 3 straight days. I finally asked him what he was going to do, and he told me. He said that the end had come, and he intended to turn this nation, the United States, over for destruction in 3.5 years. I thought it was ironic, considering what he told me, that the song I had been listening to was Hall & Oates' She's Gone. The song is about a man who lost the love of his life, how miserable he was without her, and would do just about anything to get her back. I counted 3.5 years from the day he told me, and it came to July 4th, 2016. I'll have to admit, when he first told me this, I was terrified. I put all of my furniture in my aunt's basement apartment, threw my kids and our clothes into the car, and was headed for Alaska. And I know that Alaska is part of the United States, but I thought that if I could just get away from all the major cities, I'd be safe. I don't know what I thought I was going to do in Alaska. I didn't even have any money, really, just working from paycheck to paycheck. But I was just running. I got as far as Aurora, Colorado, when Yahoo stopped me and sent me back. Later that year, I guess it must have been around late September, early October, I just remember that a hurricane had come through, and the remnants were still lingering, a gust of wind or a rain shower here and there. I woke up around 3 o'clock that morning and walked out onto my porch. I knelt down beside the banister and started talking to Yahoo. At first I had my eyes closed, but then I opened them and I looked up into the sky, and then I noticed the clouds. And they were moving out. I had never seen clouds move so fast in my life. And I said, God, and I still called him God then, look at that. Do you see those clouds? They are flying. He said to me in an audible voice, yes, now you go tell them that's how swiftly my judgment is coming. Then in early 2014, I was jolted out of sleep. I thought it was one of those episodes you have where you feel like you're falling out of bed. So I rolled over in the other direction to go to sleep. That's when I felt a pop or a sort of tap on my shoulder. Pretty much scared me to death. And I was up at that point. Adonai spoke to me again. He said in an audible voice, the fullness of the Gentiles has come. It ended in 1967. Those exact words. Now, even though it was early 2014, I had not heard of the blood moon tetrad that was to occur in 2014 and 2015. And for those of you who don't know, all 4 of them were over the United States, not Israel. But anyway, I had not heard of the solar eclipse that it would occur in August of 2017, or the Revelation 12 sign that would occur a month after the solar eclipse. I was only 4 years old when the 6-Day War took place. It wasn't in our history books, and we didn't have the internet, so I really had no clue what happened in 1967. I had to look it up. And as Yahoo showed me something, I was told to count, so I counted, always using 1967 as my base for counting. It wasn't until I neared the end that I realized I was researching Daniel's 70 weeks. Also, I started telling everybody that the United States would be destroyed on July 4th, 2016. Of course, July 4th, 2016 came and went, and when nothing happened, I felt like Yahoo had lied to me. I even accused him of that. Why do you want to make me look like an idiot? It was here that he helped me to see what he was saying. As of July 4th, 2016, no matter what we do or what we say, this nation will fall. I do, wish that he had told me that earlier and explained it to me before I made a fool of myself. So now I'm going to show you how Adonai Yahoo counts his days and weeks, because it's completely different from what the Laodicean church teaches. I think that the Jewish people have an idea, but they are off on what biblical year it is. I'm going to show you, or begin by showing you this. This is Leviticus 25. We're going to be reading verses 2 through 4. So speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when you come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard. That Sabbath that we celebrated, or they celebrated then, was the beginning of the 70 weeks, but it doesn't end there. It keeps going. We're going to go down to verse 8. And we're going to be reading 8 through 10. Thou shalt number 7 Sabbaths of years unto thee. 7 times 7 years, and the space of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be unto thee 49 years. Then shalt thou cause a trumpet of Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. In the day of atonement shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. And ye shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee, or a teruah, unto you. It means the blowing of, the day of blowing or something. Yom Teruah does. So that's the horns are going to be blown. And ye shall return every man unto his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family. And what I intend to show you is that it takes 7 Shabbats to equal 1 Shavua, and each Shavua counts as 1 day. And the 50th year goes in there as well. To complete the week, you can't stop at the 49th year. Now I want you to notice that this says, first of all, that it's a Sabbath to Yahu, or the Lord. These are not man's laws or Jewish laws. They're God's laws, kingdom laws. And if you want to live in God's kingdom, you have to keep the kingdom laws. I mean, look at the United States. If I want to live in this country, I have to obey the laws. If I don't, then I'm deported, detained, and or imprisoned. Why would Yahu's kingdom be any different? Second, this does not say to return the possession to the man, but return the man to the possession. I thought that choice of words was interesting. So they are returned to their land on the 50th year, or their possession, and the Holy Land was their possession. So it's 50 years broken down in increments of 49 Shabbats, 7 Shavuos, and 1 Teruah, or Jubilee. So it's not 7 times 70 equals 490 years, as the church tries to say, but it's 50 times 70 for a grand total of 3,500 years, beginning with that first Sabbath in the Holy Land, or in the Promised Land. Now I'm going to show you this chart. It took me a long time to make this up, or write this up. I mean, I was working at this just to make sure that I got every single year counted in there. It took me a year or two, at least a year, maybe a year and a half, to make sure that every day was counted, or every year was counted. So this would be the Garden of Eden. I'm not going to say creation, because this world Earth has been around a whole lot longer than 6,000 years. And if you look at this chart, you can see that the first week, not part of the 70 weeks, I'll show you the 70 weeks in just a minute, begins with 3884. So that was the beginning of this calendar. So Shabbat 1 would be 3884, 3883 would be 2, 3882 would be 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 3878 would be Shavua, or day 1. And then it goes on down: day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, and Teruah ends the week. That's the way Adonai Yahu counts his days and weeks and years. But anyway, like I said, you count 49 days or years, and Teruah is the 50th year and the end of the week. Now I want to show you the 70 weeks, because this is where the prophecy of Daniel's 70 weeks began. And I know that there's a whole lot of, everybody has an opinion, but I'm using the 1967 as my base for counting to show you the way that Adonai counts his days and weeks. The 70th week began right here at 1484. And see, there's 1, 2, and this is 3 through 7. It's 8 through 12, 13 through 17, 18 through 22, 23 through 27, and right here in week, what is this, week 30, is where Yeshua was born. Somewhere in here, scholars say that he was born anywhere between 2 and 4 BC. I personally don't understand why it couldn't have been the first year, which would be Shabbat 6 of the 30th week, or it would be day 4 or day 5 of the 70 weeks or whatever. But anyway, you see what I'm saying. So there's, like I said, the 30, 31, 32. There's 33 through 37. 38 through 42. Believe me, it took me a long time to make sure that I had every single year in here. 48 or 43 through 47. 48 through 52. We'll get into this a little bit deeper in another video. The 70 weeks is 53 through 57. 58 through 62. 63 through 67. Now this is what I want you to pay attention to. Remember, the Teruah is the end of the week. And like I said, I'm going to get into this in more details in another video. So I just want to show you something. In 1917, they had World War I. This was the year that they got, the Balfour Declaration was signed, giving the Jewish people the permission to return home and giving them, safety, if you will, within their own country. And that was a Teruah year. So they were returned to their possession there. Then we have 1967, another Teruah year. This was the year of the 6-Day War, the year that they took back East Jerusalem, which included the Temple Mount. So that was another Teruah. This Teruah, they were allowed to go home here. They got the Temple Mount back there. And then in 2017, the end of the 70 weeks, Donald J. Trump declared Jerusalem the capital of Israel again. So that was the end, people. I'm sorry, 2017 was the end of the 70 weeks. Where you people think it? You're going out. The Jewish people will say that 2017, no, they said 2024. This is why I say that they're wrong, because they said 2024 was a Jubilee year, but it's not. It is a Shavua, but the last Teruah was in 2017. The next one will be in 2067. So anyway, there you go. That's the way Adonai counts his days and weeks and years and stuff. He puts it right there for you to see, but you people are just following blindly along people who come up with all kinds of stuff. And it sounds good, really it does, but unfortunately it doesn't match what Yehu says. So, like I said, that's the 70 weeks. All the way, this is not only the 70 weeks, but all the way back to the Garden of Eden.